What's up guys, Perry from Rockville here, and today I'm going to show you how to set up your P-shelf. Now we're able to attach the P-shelf to any single tier stands or double tier stands, but for right now let's take a look at the single tier stands like the RKS30X and the PKS35. So when we take a look at the inside of the shelf, you'll see this wide opening here, and you want to make sure that your stand fits within the parameters of this opening to attach to your stand. So for our PKS35 here, for example, if we line up the inside to the shelf to the top of the stand like this, you'll see that it fits nice and perfectly. From here, we can place our items right on top of the shelf and not have to worry about anything falling through the middle. And as soon as we want to remove it, all we have to do is lift up on the shelf like this, and it's as easy as that. The same principles apply to the RKS30X. You just want to make sure that the opening of our shelf lines up to the top of the stand. So we can just take our shelf and line it up to the top here, and you'll be able to see that it's a perfect fit. And once you're all done, you can just lift the shelf up to remove it. So like I mentioned, we can also attach our P-shelf to dual tier stands, so let's go over how to do that next. Now we can also set up our P-shelf to dual tier stands like the RKS42X and the PKS40. So when attaching the P-shelf to the PKS40, we recommend taking a look at these tabs here for the second tier and facing them down so that this way it won't lift up the shelf and you can have it completely flat. You can also switch up the angle for the second tier before adding the shelf, so if you want it slightly slanted or completely flat, totally up to you, whatever is best for your setup. So now you can line up the inside of the P-shelf to the second tier, just like this, place it down, and now we have our shelf all set up on our second tier. So this is a cool setup if you have a full keyboard that you want to attach to the first tier, and then you want to have your laptop, mixer, etc. set up to the second tier. And to remove it, all you have to do is lift up the shelf, and it's as easy as that. And the same principles apply when setting up your P-shelf to your dual X tier stand. So first we want to take a look at these tabs here and make sure that they're facing down. From here, you can change the angle of your second tier if you need for your setup. Then you can just line up the inside of your P-shelf to the second tier like this, set it down, and now we have our second tier all set up. And once you're all done, you can take off the shelf by lifting it up just like that. So we can set up our P-shelf to any X tier stands like the RKS30X or the RKS42X. So the first thing we want to do is make sure that these tabs are facing down so that they don't lift the table up once we apply it to the top of the stand. Then after that, all we have to do is line up the inside of our shelf to the top of the stand. And just like that, we turned our stand into a table. From here, we can place our items right on top of the shelf and not have to worry about anything falling through. And if we want to remove the shelf, all we have to do is lift it up just like that. The same principles apply for the dual tier X stand. So first we have to make sure that these tabs are facing down. And because we can adjust the angle for the second tier, we can set that up however we want, whether we want it kind of slanted like this or completely flat. And then once we have that set up, all we have to do is line up the inside of the shelf to the top of the second tier like this, place it down, and now we've got our second tier all set up. And as soon as we're done, we can just lift the shelf up to remove it. So we can add our P-shelf to our PKS stands like the PKS35 or the PKS40. We'll start with the single tier PKS stand, the 35. So all we have to do is line up the inside of our shelf here to the top of the stand like this. And just like that, we've turned the stand into a table. From here, we can place our items on top of the stand and not have to worry about it falling through the middle. And as soon as we're done, all we have to do is lift up the shelf like this, and it's as easy as that. So the same principles apply when adding the shelf to the second tier of your PKS40, but first you want to make sure that these tabs here on the second tier are facing down so that they don't raise up the table towards the bottom. And because you can adjust the angle of the second tier, you can do that first, whether you want to adjust the angle so that it has a slight tilt, or if you want it completely flat. It's totally up to you, depending on how you want your setup. After you've got that situated, you can line up the inside of your shelf to the second tier like this, set it down, and now you've got your second tier all set up. And to remove the shelf, you're just gonna lift it up just like that. So hopefully this showed you guys how easy it is to set up your P-shelf. But of course, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to reach out to our customer support team through phone or email. As always, I'm Perry from Rockville, and we'll see you guys next time.